The Germans surrounded Bastogne on December 20th, 1944, and gave the Americans inside 2 hours to surrender. The American commander responded with a single word. The 11,000 men in the perimeter did not know what that word was. They only knew the supply planes had not come in 4 days. You are 20 years old and you are from Akron, Ohio, where your father runs a hardware store on South Main Street. The thing you know best in the world, before all of this, is the smell of a stockroom in winter, machine oil and cardboard, and the particular cold that comes off a concrete floor when the heat has been off overnight. You have been in Europe for 4 months. You all are a private in the 501st Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne Division. Until 200 hours on December 17th, you were on pass in Mourmelon, sleeping in a real bed for the first time in 6 weeks, your boots off, your rifle in the corner. Then the lights came on and the sergeant was in the doorway and the word was Ardennes. You did not know where the Ardennes was. You had heard it mentioned, but it was a word without a shape, until the trucks were moving and the men around you were checking their ammunition. You looked at your own and counted what you had, which was not enough. You did not know yet that not enough was going to be the condition you lived in for the next 5 weeks. Your regiment moved 107 miles by truck through the night in temperatures already dropping below 0 Celsius. No winter gear, no overshoes. Men sitting in open vehicles with their rifles across their knees and their breath coming out in small clouds that the wind took immediately. Nobody told you where you were going exactly. The sergeant said the line had broken somewhere and you were going to hold it. You held your rifle and watched the dark Belgian countryside pass, and you thought about the bed in Mourmelon and the way the springs felt when you first lay down on them. The particular luxury of a surface that was soft and level and not moving. You did not sleep on the truck. Nobody slept on the truck. The forest outside Bastogne is called the Bois Jacques, and it is made of pine trees 15 meters tall that close over the top of your position and turn the daylight into something gray and even and sourceless. The kind of light that makes it difficult to tell what time it is, which matters because time is one of the few things you have left to count. Your foxhole is 8 meters deep and 90 centimeters wide, dug into frozen ground that took 4 hours to break through with an entrenching tool. Trading off with a man from Tennessee named Marsh who did not talk much but worked steadily and without complaint until you hit the depth where the frost ended and the digging got easier. The temperature on December 21st is -20 Celsius. You have no overcoat. You have the jacket you arrived in, a wool blanket you found in an abandoned farmhouse outside Noville, and the body heat of the man sharing your foxhole. At night you manage by sitting pressed back to back, taking turns sleeping in 90-minute increments because 90 minutes is approximately how long a man can sleep before the cold wakes him. Your feet are the problem. Your boots are standard leather jump boots, not insulated, not designed for this, and after 72 hours in a foxhole in -20, they are doing something that is not quite keeping your feet anymore. More like containing them, the way a box contains something that no longer fits its original shape. You take them off twice a day to rub your feet the way the medic told you to. Your feet are the color of a bruise, and they hurt in a way that is better than not hurting, because the men who stop hurting are the ones the medics look at with a different expression. The Germans shell the perimeter every morning at 0600 and every evening at 1700, regular as a schedule. You have learned to be inside your foxhole at those times the way you learned to be at your station at the hardware store when your father opened the front door at 8. In between the shellings, the forest is quiet in a way that forests are not usually quiet. All the birds gone, the snow on the branches so thick it muffles even the wind. You eat 2 crackers and a tin of cold hash for breakfast on December 21st. That is breakfast. You are waiting for the supply drop. The supply drop has been delayed by fog for 4 days. The men who know things say it will come tomorrow. The men who know things have been saying it will come tomorrow for 4 days. You have reached the point where tomorrow is a word you hold carefully, the way you hold something you are not sure will support its own weight. Word moves through the perimeter the way cold moves through a foxhole, finding every gap, arriving before you expect it. The Germans have sent a written message to the American command. The message says Bastogne is surrounded. It says the 101st has one option, which is honorable surrender. It gives the American commanders 2 hours to respond. You hear this from Marsh, who heard it from a runner, who heard it from somewhere else in the chain. You sit in the foxhole and think about it. Outside, the forest is doing what it has been doing for 5 days, which is being cold and full of Germans and not producing any supply aircraft. Marsh says he wonders what the general will say. You say you do not know. You do not know. Somewhere in a house in Bastogne, a general is writing a reply on a piece of paper that you will not see and would not fully understand if you did. The word he writes is a slang term that means something impolite and also something that cannot be surrendered. The Germans, when they receive it, will need to have it translated, and the translation will not carry everything the word was meant to carry. None of this reaches you. What reaches you is silence, and then more shelling at 1700 and then the silence again. You eat the last of your crackers. You think about the hardware store, the way your father restocked the nails on Saturday morning, each size in its own bin, the small satisfying weight of a handful of roofing nails. The bins never ran completely empty because your father ordered before they ran out, a principle he called keeping ahead of the need. You are not ahead of anything right now. You're behind everything by about 4 days. You hear it before you see it. The sound is different from the sounds you have been living inside for 5 days. Not artillery, not the crack of a Mauser from the tree line, not the wind. A different engine note, multiple engines, coming from the west. You look up through the pine branches and the sky is clear for the first time since you arrived in Belgium. A hard blue December sky with no clouds in it. Coming through that sky are C-47 transport planes. 241 of them, and below each plane, the white circles of supply parachutes opening. You watch them come down. Ammunition, rations, medical supplies, batteries for the radios, surgical equipment, blankets and overshoes. The overshoes arriving 4 days after your feet needed them, but arriving, which is the only thing that matters right now. The men around you are standing upright, moving fast, voices at a volume that is not the foxhole volume you have all learned to use. You stay where you are for a moment. You look at the parachutes coming down through the blue sky, and you count them. You count 241 transport planes, and you lose count of the parachutes because there are too many and your eyes are not working the way they usually work, which might be the cold or might be something else. You do not cry. You are 20 years old and you have been in a frozen foxhole for 5 days eating crackers and rubbing your feet to keep them attached to your body. You have learned that feeling. Things takes energy and energy is a thing you ration now the same way you ration everything else. You climb out of the foxhole. Your feet hold you. Patton's 4th Armored Division breaks through the German lines from the south on December 26th and the siege is over, which is a word that does not feel the way you expected a word like that to feel. You are sitting on the edge of your foxhole when the first Sherman tank comes through the tree line, and the men around you are on their feet and some of them are shouting. You look at the tank and you look at the tree line, and you look at the foxhole you have been living in for 8 days. 8 meters deep, 90 centimeters wide. The bottom is packed dirt and pine needles, and a dark stain along the left wall from where Marsh cut his hand on his entrenching tool on the 3rd day, and did not mention it until the 4th. Marsh is not in it anymore. Marsh went to the aid station on December 24th with frostbite in 3 toes on his right foot. The doctors will save 2 of them. You will not know this for 6 weeks. The tank passes and another one follows it and the column keeps coming and the men keep shouting. Somewhere behind you, someone has found a radio and Christmas music is coming out of it. Thin and small and wrong in the way that right things are sometimes wrong when you encounter them in the wrong place. You reach into your jacket pocket. You have been carrying a single hard candy since Mourmelon, a piece of butterscotch in a yellow wrapper that your mother put in your last package. You have been saving it without deciding to save it, the way you save some things without a reason. You unwrap it. You put it in your mouth. The forest is still there, pine trees 15 meters tall, the branches still heavy with snow that nothing has disturbed in 8 days. The tank column keeps moving. The butterscotch tastes like your mother's kitchen and like nothing you have a name for and like the particular smell of a hardware store stockroom in winter when the heat has been off overnight. You sit on the edge of the foxhole and you let it dissolve.